All right, now let us say hello to the greatest bantamweight champion of all time, of course, from WEC to UFC. He's the man who built that division. He was victorious just a few weeks ago in Las Vegas against Casey Kenney. You know him. He is, of course, Dominick Cruz. Dom, great to talk to you as always. Haven't talked to you since the fight against Casey Kenney. I'm just wondering, the victory, did it, there was so much talk about, first non-title fight in 7 years and first 3-round fights. Did you feel like you got a monkey off your back getting that win? Like, what was the feeling that you felt after that victory over Casey Kenney?
It's just nice to be back. If you want the truth, it's a testament to myself that I knew that if I put in a full camp, I could look like myself. I could be myself. I could fight like myself. And the past 2 fights before that, I just did not have the camps I needed to, and it showed in my performances. So what's important to me right now is, especially after that win, is getting in a full camp, having the time I need to prepare for these athletes, because they're the best. They're all the best in the world. I don't see Casey Kenney losing a lot after that fight. I think that he's going to hold his ground pretty steady, and the other people that he fights are going to have a tough time with him. So he's good. The rest of the division is very good. So it just taught me a lot about where I'm at, and that I just need to make sure and stay healthy in these camps, and I can go out there and perform the way I need to at a high level.
I know you're very critical as far as being an analyst, but you're also critical of yourself. Were you happy with your performance?
Yeah, I was. I went back and watched that several times, and I don't see a split decision. This is me talking from real, like, without being attached to it. I believe I controlled the pace of that fight. I believe I controlled what was going on the entire fight, and I was safe the entire fight. And I controlled the pace and everything. So I thought I won that handily. It was not as close as the judges wanted to say. The fact that anybody gave him that fight is mind-blowing to me, completely mind-blowing. But you can't be too mind-blown, because, the judging in our sport is very hard to understand right now for everybody. That's why when you go to split decision, that's the last thing you want, because you just don't know what the judges are going to do.
The last time you went 15 minutes, like 3 full rounds, I don't know if you remember this, 2009 against Joseph Benavidez.
Of course, I remember that.
So do you feel like when you go 50, I mean, of course you've had fights that have ended, quicker than 50 minutes, but it's a 50-minute fight and it ends as opposed to a full 25-minute fight. Do you feel like you get the full, experience? Did you get it all out of your system?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's 15 minutes of fighting is definitely good enough to get it out of your system. But it also gave me a look at where I've won so many fights, in those championship rounds, and why, and how it feels to go 5 rounds compared to 3. And man, it's such, when you've done as many 5-round fights as I've done, you realize what a gift 3 rounds is the best way I can put it. It's way less taxing on the body preparing for it in the camp. And that carries into the fight when you show up healthy.
I want to clear something up with you, because I'm watching the post-fight show on Saturday, and there's our friend Chael Sonnen talking about Sean O'Malley. And he claims that he gets a text from you saying that you are interested in fighting Sean O'Malley. Now, I'm not trying to disparage old Chael P, but, sometimes he doesn't mind bending the truth a little bit. So I wanted to go to the actual source. Did you, in fact, text him that?
Well, I'll start with, I'm glad you said it, not me.
Okay.
Ariel, because who else knows Chael besides you and me on the level that we know Chael?
Right.
Not very many, only if you work with them.
Right.
So, Chael, let's talk about what he benefits, to get the facts straight, from throwing my name out there at this time. Okay. What does he benefit? Well, he's currently a promoter of a grappling organization on Fight Pass, is he not?
Yes.
And if you type his name, what's the first thing that comes up is his Fight Pass promotion.
Mm-hmm.
So if he attaches my name to a relevant matchup that he likes, now his name goes viral, and everybody's pulling up his Fight Pass grappling matches. Okay. So you got to think there's always an agenda when it comes to Chael Sonnen. and it's an agenda for himself 100% of the time. And I mean this with love to Chael. Like, I would even go as far as to consider him my friend. And in his mind, he probably thought this was a friendly thing to do for me, because I didn't run out and shout somebody out the way he does. That's right. How he works. You got to do this That's Chael. You know this.
Yeah.
But like you said, he does bend the truth, and he definitely bent the truth over backwards on this one.
Okay.
And I did not text him that. In fact, 6 months ago, I'd say, he called me before I had picked up this fight with Casey Kenney and agreed to it, before Shelby brought it to me. He asked me if I wanted to be part of his grappling promotion against Sean O'Malley or against Roman Bravo Young. And I'm thinking, okay, why would I go do this when I'm still planning to fight? And I said, no, I'm not going to do that because I'm going to fight. I plan on coming back to fight. He said, respect, and that was it. And so then he brings this back around and creates it again. And it's just very, very Chael Sonnen of him to do so. But I did not text him.
Wait, you didn't text him a thing? Like, you didn't even text him something else not even a thing?
No, not a thing. And this is the honest to God truth. Like, why? This is why I first wanted to go in what he benefits from saying that,
okay,
which now you understand. But the other side of it is, why would I reach out to him when I could come onto your show and hit a much larger base talking about it myself? And why would I come to him and text him in the background if I could just call out Sean O'Malley myself?
Right.
And why would I call out Sean O'Malley or anybody else in the division? If you really look at the landscape of my career, what I've done, I'm an ex-champion. TJ Dillashaw is an ex-champion. Cody Garbrandt's an ex-champion. Henry Cejudo, if he decides to grow a pair and come back, he's an ex-champion. So all these people have targets on their back as ex-champions beyond Petr Yan-Aljamain Sterling. So that's a whole lineup of people that if you call them out, you benefit, because having that asterisk next to their name to face one of these guys that has been an ex-champion creates momentum for somebody's career who's in the top 10. So I'm at a place in my career where I don't need to call anybody out other than the champion themselves. If I really want to move my career into a place that makes sense. So I've been waiting on Sean Shelby. That's the other thing. I have a relationship with Sean Shelby. I could just call Sean Shelby and say, that's the fight I want.
Right.
Do I really need to go and text Chael Sonnen on his show where he could say, I'm watching, and tell him that I want to fight Sean? No, I would never do that. I would never need to do that. And I have too many outlets with you, Sean Shelby, and myself, that I don't need Chael Sonnen to air out some news randomly out of nowhere. And let this be known. Chael Sonnen is a promoter now. He's not a fighter. He's a promoter. And what do promoters do? They promote their event. Tying his name to my name and to Sean O'Malley in a matchup promotes him, promotes his brand, not me.
So just curious, like, after this all got out, did you text him like, hey man, why did you say this? Or you just kind of let it be and chalk it up?
Have you ever tried texting Chael Sonnen?
Yeah.
Does he always respond back? Does he usually respond back? Does he almost never respond back?
With me, he's pretty good.
He rarely responds back to me.
Oh, really?
Unless there's like something he can get out of it. So no, I didn't text him. I'm not mad at the guy. It's just Chael being Chael. Like, right. What are you gonna do? Like, he makes things up. He makes a laugh out of it. He makes it funny, so that even though it's a fib or a lie, it's funny. So it almost like you don't look at it. You kind of throw it to the wind. But this is what Chael does. He's done it his whole career. Made up stories and ran with them. And he made this story up 100%.
So let me ask you, are you interested in fighting Sean O'Malley?
Now, that's the next question that I knew was coming. Am I interested in fighting again? Yes. Do I need to call out one specific person? No. Am I saying no to one specific person? No. And I could also see how that would be a matchup that people are talking about. He feints a lot. He uses his range well. He's tall, he's long. I'm tall, I'm long. I use feint. We have a lot of similarities. And, if he's an up and coming athlete, I'm sure he's watched a ton of my fights and saw how I was successful. And I see that he uses a lot of stuff. So no, I'm not opposed to it, but I haven't talked to Shelby or anything. And I'm just getting back into training again now. I'm nursing bursitis in my left elbow. And once that goes away and I'll be in it this whole month, we'll think of something and we'll get back in there. Before the end of the year, I'm going to fight again.
Ideally, which month?
It's a good question. I haven't. Let me get this full month of training in again after the fight. I just started again this week. It's been 3 weeks since my fight, and I'm feeling healthy and I'm getting back in the gym. Right after this, I'll leave this interview and walk into the gym and get back to getting in the rhythm. And once we get in the rhythm, me and my coach are like, yeah, this, yeah, that. We're going to talk to Shelby's going to reach out. I already know. I mean, all these people are going to reach out, and it's not going to be hard to find me a fight.
Right.
There's a lot of people that want to fight me, Ariel.
I have to say the one that really got me excited just kind of for nostalgic reasons, but also it sort of makes sense right now considering where you're both at, was you versus Aldo. You know, the king of 145 at WC, the king of 135. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I mean. Look at all the matchups. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm a fun fight to watch, and I'm a tough matchup for anybody in the division. Everybody knows that. So you could match me up with anybody in the top 10 and it'll be amazing to watch. That's why there's no specific reason to call out one person, because I've got my hands full with anybody in the top 10. That's a fact. Anybody in the top 10, I have my hands full. They're all world title holders. Casey Kenney was a multiple-time world champion in another organization. So all these guys in the top 12, top 15 are world title holders in other organizations. Maybe not in the UFC, but they're still champions. So I got my hands full with everybody there, and whoever I get lined up with, I'm going to definitely have to put in my work like I'm doing right now.
I know he's not necessarily on your radar, but I was just curious to get your side of this story. A couple of weeks ago, Rani Yahya fought, and he told a story about like a run-in that he had with you many moons ago outside, and it almost got like super physical. Do you know what he's talking about? Because he seems like such a kind of mild-mannered guy, and I never heard this story before. Do you remember this?
Well, I remember I was at a jiu-jitsu tournament, and he had a snake wrapped around his arm.
A real snake?
A boa constrictor. And he was at the jiu-jitsu tournament. And I don't know if you know anything about jiu-jitsu tournaments, but they're like very open to, you know, if you're a black belt, you kind of run stuff to an extent. Mm-hmm. Well, this is before I had even really gotten a win base going in the WEC. So this was over a decade ago. And he got upset when I was competing against one of his athletes, and he got upset and ran on the mat and physically took me off of the athlete. And I asked him, you know, to not touch me. And he got really upset, and somebody came in and broke us up on the mat. And I finished the match, and he got kicked out of the event and threw the snake while he sprinted out of the event.
What?
Like it was pretty crazy, but it was like, I was shocked because I'm literally in the middle of the grappling match with this guy. Like I'm in the third period, like I take him down out of bounds and all this goes on, and I'm just shocked. And then when he sprints out, it's because, you know, he's breaking rules, and he kind of lost his cool basically. But I mean, for him to bring that up now, it's kind of, you know, digging into just trying to get attention. The guy, okay. I mean, how silent has he been his whole career for the most part, you know? So again, this is another example of people who can link themselves to my name and get a spike in people talking about them, which it's nothing to brag about. It's just like, guys, come on, man, just do it yourself. Stop it. Do it yourself. I'm not over there attaching my name to people trying to, you know, create some sort of havoc on the internet. Just work, do your own work, focus on you, and we'll all move forward together.
Fair enough. Could I ask, because it was the night that you fought, and obviously when I think of 135, we think of you. What do you make of this whole Petr Yan-Aljamain Sterling situation, and you know, the way it unfolded, but also the aftermath and how Aljamain has behaved as this new champion?
Man, I only have one mindset for a champion, and that's it. And it's not my place to judge. This is just my experience of what a champion should be. If you're not making the people around you greater and the people watching you greater, better, learning something, growing, positivity, then you're probably not a very good champion. So other than that, what are we doing? If you're not bringing some kind of growth to the sport or to you or to the people, then you know, you're probably a little bit inward focused, selfish, focused on yourself. So I don't know if he's doing that or not, but I really don't. I have no judgment on that, but that's what a good champion is. So if that's up to everybody else to look at and decide. And that's my own opinion of it. So I don't know how he's responding, other than he seems a little bit angry is all I can say. And Petr Yan seems a little bit angry, rightfully so. These guys had a weird ending to a weird championship fight that was competitive, but man, what a controversial ending. Is there any other way to put it? You can do nothing but ask questions after that, right? So I think that all the questions in the gray area that took place in that creates a lot of interpretations that people are taking a bunch of interpretations. They're making interpretations fact. And then that creates the gray area, which is all the unanswered questions.
Okay. So who do you think wins between Cory Sandhagen and TJ Dillashaw? Because that seems to be a number one contender fight. How do you see that fight playing out?
When I look at the matchups, I mean, I've said it before, what's the hardest fight to tell what's going to happen? It's anybody who's been on a layoff. Those are the hardest ones to read because you don't know how TJ is going to show up. He could show up wrestling nonstop for the first time in his career, for all I know. He could show up just like he did early on in his career, nothing but striking. And he's just been, who knows? He's been out for 2 years. He's had double shoulder surgery. He should be healthier than ever after that layoff. And I don't know how he's going to show up. I don't know what tools he's going to use. So, but if I look at Sandhagen and how he's shown up, I see, a striking battle between these two. And I think Sandhagen gets the better of him in a pure striking battle. Okay.
Do you think Yan gets the better of Sterling?
So far, I mean, when you watch that last fight, you can't really assume anything else.
Right.
Yan stayed very composed. I mean, he didn't ever look shook in that fight for even 1 second, if you ask me, other than when he was debating kneeing him in the head or not. That was the only time where you saw him really thinking about something.
Appreciate the time as always. I remember many moons ago you telling me this line, and it stuck with me as one of my favorite lines that anyone has ever told me in all my interviews. When I asked you after you beat TJ that, I asked you, was it that the greatest and happiest moment of your life? And you told me the happiest moment of your life was when you realized you didn't need a belt to be happy. Do you remember this in Boston?
Yeah. That was a crazy night.
It was what comes to mind when you think of the night, by the way? That wasn't my question, but you just kind of shook your head.
It was just a crazy night, man. I mean, that to do what after what I've been through with losses and wins and just throughout my ups and downs of the career, to win the title like that you're never going to see something like that again, where a layoff like that and to come back and win and beat somebody like TJ was on a streak the way he was. So I look back at that, and I think in the moment I couldn't really appreciate what I had done because, one, I just got done with a crazy fight, but two, I hadn't really faced losses yet. When you face loss, it makes you very appreciative for the work that you do in wins. And, I'm very grateful for that night looking back at it, but it was just a crazy night to get that done. To be honest, it was crazy, but still I stand by what I said. That's what gave me the power to get to that point, was knowing that there was more to me than just being a title holder.
And so I'm wondering, if you don't ever fight for the belt again, will you be okay?
Of course. Yeah. I mean, I just fought a Kenney that everybody was talking down on, and the guy's good, and it doesn't, I'm here to compete. You can't really force yourself into one set mindset where if I'm only going to fight for the title, otherwise I'm not good. It's no, I'm here working up the division just like I've always done. Like you said, in 2009, I faced Joseph Benavidez for 3 rounds, and that led me to the next fight, which became a title shot. So it's each fight gets you closer to where you're looking to be. I'm always looking to be at the top, but I'm not sitting here waiting on something. I just got to take what comes. And the only thing I got to wait on is my body being healthy. And right now it's healthy, and I can train every single day. So I know as long as I train every single day and keep putting in that work, when the opportunity comes, the work will be done and my body will be prepared and healthy, and I can go out there and perform. When I'm healthy, I perform at a championship level.
Congrats again on the win. This is our first time speaking since then, and I look forward to what's next for you.
Thanks, Ariel. And there will be a lot next. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to go train to get ready for you guys.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.